Hello and welcome to another episode of Top3Tech. I'm your host, Ruiz, and of course, today I'm going to be doing a GPU review. Today's is a little bit different because normally I do AIBs. I hardly do reference or founder edition cards just because a lot of content creators that are sponsored, or not even sponsored, but get samples, they get their cards early and they get it tested out, and then on day one when it releases, they drop the videos. I have to wait until the card is out, it ships to me, and I have to purchase it myself. So that's why it takes me a while to do these. But today I got the AMD RADEON RX 7900 XT. It's the XFX edition. It's the, I think they call it MBA, I'm not too sure. But it's the reference model. And I have tested the XFX 7900 XT Merc and the black edition of the Merc and the XTX Merc. So I'm excited to see how this does compared to that XT. And let's get this going. So I don't rip the box. If you saw my 4070 video on the Asus Dual, you'll see why I do that. Not of the dual cards. Oh no, because on that one, well, you'll see if you want to check out that video. And let's see what's inside. I'm curious because I've seen the other XFX box contents, and since those are AIBs, I'm wondering if they're a little different than this, or this has a similar design. Oh, no, they're pretty similar. They have this warranty information and latest driver information. Chinese letters. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably something about the materials they use, they recycle or something like that. There you go. Some foam on top. Wow, an anti-static bag. What else is in here? Jeez, this looks kind of tiny if we're being honest. Look at that. Alright, definitely interested. Huh. And that's about it. Let's go ahead and get a close-up on this GPU. This GPU does feature a triple fan design that measures 276 millimeters in length. We have Radeon spelled out in white on the bottom left. We have red triangles throughout the back plate of this card. And there is no heat vent to the right of this, surprisingly. We have a nice little red line on the aluminum fins, the Radeon logo on the bottom center that does not light up, and it is a 16-pin socket. This GPU is enclosed in a metal frame, which puts the card on the heavier side. We have two DisplayPort 2.1 slots, one HDMI 2.1 slot, one USB Type-C slot encased in a stainless steel bracket, and on the other side, there is no opening to let air into the GPU, so I wonder how this will affect temperatures. Here we're going to compare them physically to the other cards I have on hand. Let me go ahead and introduce them real quick. We have the Sapphire Pulse 6800 non-XT. We have the Sapphire Nitro Plus 6800 XT Special Edition. We have the Acer Predator Bifrost Intel Arc A770 OC. And then we got the, EVGA Featherwind 3 Ultra RTX 3070 Ti. Sorry, I can't believe I forgot. EVGA. They're not that gone. They haven't been gone for that long. So it's pretty crazy when you compare this 7900 XT to the 6800 XT, because look at how small it is compared to that. But let's see. This Acer is actually, I think it's pretty much the same size. Yeah, crazy. So this is what I use on my streaming PC because it has the AV1 encoder. This has it as well, so that would actually fit perfectly in there. But yeah, look, it's as big as this A770. That's insane. But we'll go ahead and put that back over here for comparison. So if you notice, the pulse has this red line here. All the pulses do. That's like a trademark of it. It is plastic right here in the front. It weighs significantly less than the NBA. We have the Nitro. It has LED fans right here. You can change the color. Two-tone plate, plastic on the front as well. And then this is all metal. Has an Acer Predator logo. RGB Aeroblade 3D fan. And then an RGB blower fan right there on the front. It looks like the old reference cards, or it has that similar style. Here's the EVGA logo in the middle, EVGA logo on the fans, these little dots, RGB bar here, it says EVGA right there as well. So this is the reference. It's all metal. It's freaking heavy. It's crazy. It looks like it has the X right here as well. I wonder if all the other MBAs have a similar design or something different, because this time around they made a bunch of MBAs from different AIB brands usually. Another big difference I noticed on the AIBs and the MBA is, well, let's give a look. This has the Pulse on it. It has the Pulse Radeon. This has the heat vent. This is what I was talking about, which is not on the MBA. This is a 16 pin socket card. It says Sapphire down there, Radeon there. Non-RGB card pretty much. Also, it has this little hole right here, which in theory can blow more air in through your front fans. We got the Nitro Plus Radeon here, Nitro Plus there. The Fox logo lights up, RGB, heat vent, hole right here in the front, 16 pin as well. That lights up with Sapphire. It says Radeon down there, two-toned. We got the Acer Predator, the A770, the Predator logo, Predator words. Some people don't like that. I don't think it's too bad, but not one of my favorites. Got the heat vent here. Got the hole here to intake some air. 16 pin as well. Intel Arc A770 lights up Predator logo. Jeez, I need to wipe that down. It's got fingerprints on it. And then this has a heat vent here. A part of the design, it has holes. As you can see, there's some holes all around. Holes here as well. GeForce RTX. BIOS switch. Oh, forgot to mention, these three have BIOS switch. That one doesn't. It's got the, well, it's open. So it's kind of got the holes there. But either way, it's a thick card. EVGA bar that right there that lights up, 16 pin. So I wonder if this heat vent not being here and there no hole being here will affect this that much. We will find out. It's got the 16 pin socket too, and we'll see if that lights up. I like the little red line there. But if you just want to look at the difference between the NBA and some AIBs, these are the previous generations. So just showing you how cards can be. I will be putting the 7900 XT in the Lian Li Lanco 2. Sorry about my mess back there, guys, but it is what it is. Let's see how it fits in there. It should be fine. That's how it looks like in the case. All the lights off. So for the non-RGB fans, that's how it would be. But let's go ahead and turn on the lights and see how it looks. There you go. So a lot of people think I hate non-RGB GPUs. I don't. I just say for the money you pay, you should get RGB. But since this is the NBA model, I don't mind too much. People saw that I hated the Merc Black Edition of this card because it did look a little boring. It looked plain for being an AIB. It looked generic to me. At least this has a reason to look generic, so I'm not too mad. And as you can see, it's about 2.5 slots. Almost, 2.5 slot card. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the benchmarks. We finished the unboxing, and I'll finish the rest of my review after that. Before we go any further with the benchmarks, let me go ahead and introduce the Top3Tech PC specs. We have an Asus X570 Tough Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. We have a Ryzen 7 5800X CPU. We have 32GB of Corsair Vengeance 3200 MHz. And of course, we have the XFX AMD RX 7900 XT. It is running on PCIe Gen 4. It has a 320-bit memory bus. It supposedly has a 2400 MHz boost clock and a 2000 MHz game clock, but I did get an average of 2650 on most games, and on some applications it was at 2225 MHz, and the highest that I did hit was 2855 MHz, even if it was for a split second. So have fun with that, you guys. It does include 20GB of GDDR6 memory. It is on the RDNA 3 architecture, and they do recommend a minimum 750 watt PSU to go with this card. When I talk about the results of the benchmarks, I am comparing the normal rasterization, but I did include super sampling for the people that are interested. I do have FSR 2.1 or higher, so if the game doesn't include that,
it didn't get FSR tested. And if I do have DLSS3 and frame generation tested as well, so if the game includes that, I have it marked on the charts. And of course, I was in a 72-degree room, and people have different cases and different temps, so I put the highest mark I hit just to try to even it out with people that have cases that don't have the best airflow.
performance of this card is pretty great at 1440p. It averages about 140 to 160 on most games. On less demanding games, it'll go above the 160 mark, and on more demanding games, it'll hit about the 110 mark, like Cyberpunk. So if you have a high refresh rate 1440p monitor, this card is for you, and it comes with that 20 gigabyte VRAM, so you'll be able to future-proof yourself on many games. But if you want to play 4K, this might not be for you if you have a 120Hz monitor or higher for 4K. This card does hit 90 frames on most games at 4K. The more demanding ones like Cyberpunk, it hits 60 frames, not too bad. And it sometimes does hit 110 on older titles that aren't as demanding. So give or take with that information what you will, but 1440p is the way to go. And it does consume about 310 to 320 watts of power while you're playing, and it does have little spikes here and there, but it's not too bad. So when it comes to ray tracing, we've got good news and bad news. The good news is that it is playable, because the only game that you really can't play is 4K Cyberpunk. You get about 15 frames per second on that, and at 1440p you get 30 frames per second. Cyberpunk has crazy ray tracing settings, psycho, and it is very demanding, and that was integrated from the ground up. But on other games, with the ray tracing, like on shadow textures and not too many details, not built from the ground up, it runs perfectly at 60 frames or higher at 4K and at 1440p 90 or higher. So you can have a good experience, but of course when you compare it to the newer NVIDIA cards, it gets blown out of the water. And NVIDIA has had their foot in ray tracing store for a while now, so that is to be expected. And of course, with new GPUs, we get new technology, and the AV1 encoder is a great feature to have on these cards. The AV1 encoder lets you upload or stream videos, let's just say 4K, 1440p, or 1080p, at lower bandwidth, so that way you're not using as much internet. So you get higher quality streams for less internet use, which is practical for people that don't have the best internet, and your other stuff won't lag as well, so that's pretty good. And of course the design of this card is pretty great, not just physically but also the chipset. Instead of one giant chip, it's little chiplets, 7 of them to be exact, and we got 3 on each side, and then the bridge to connect them, and infinity cache to make sure that it all works efficiently. And the fan noise is pretty good on this card. Even when I pump it up to like 75%, it doesn't make that much noise, and that's awesome to see. I tested out other cards, this other 7900 XTs, the Gigabyte Gaming and the Merc Black Edition, and those fans were pretty loud. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but a lot louder than this. And the temps of this is pretty good. I thought that the design of this card was going to affect the temps. It was barely, maybe 1 degree more than the other XTs, and those had the heat vents and the little opening as well. So it doesn't make too much of a difference. I thought it'd be a lot bigger. The max temps weren't really too much higher either, maybe like 5 degrees higher than the other GPUs as well. So this card is holding its own. And of course, the size is amazing because the Merc was a super long card. It barely fit in my case. The Gigabyte Gaming was a little longer than this, skinnier for sure, a little longer, but still the size of this card is crazy. Like I showed earlier, it was the same size as the Intel Arc, which is pretty great, especially for people with smaller cases. Some minor complaints I have with the card is the coil whine. It wasn't too bad, not too good, but it was it did hit the really bad category on Forza Horizon 5. Horizon 5, that thing was freaking loud, and I don't know why it got so loud on that game mostly. All other games it was noticeable, but not as bad as that. So I'm not too sure what other games it's gonna make that kind of noise. So be warned, that is a possibility. I also don't like that there's no LED RGBs on the card, so the Radeon logo does not light up. Nothing on the card lights up. And since you're paying $780, I believe that you should be getting those features, because why not? If you don't want those, you could always turn off the LED or RGB. But we don't get it, and some people don't like RGB, so this might not be a knock for them. And of course, no BIOS switch is pretty odd as well. Like I said, you're paying a lot of money for these cards. You might as well get a BIOS switch because more features, why not? And the price, well, the price is expensive, so that is a con. At $780 is what the cheapest I could find it. It's pretty pricey, but compared to other cards, it's not as bad. But other AIBs aren't are either the same price or a little bit more. The Sapphire Pulse is 780 as well. I would probably get that instead of this if we're being honest. I haven't tried it though, so I can't say. The Sapphire makes good cards. I found the Merc edition of this, the black edition, for $30 more at 810. I found other cards for 800, other AIBs, and I also found the ASRock version of the NBA for 750. So you have a lot of other options. I mean, if you could get this one at a good price or 780, it's not that bad either. The 6950 XT is around 650. So I would probably recommend spending $80 more, $100 more, sorry, and getting this if you can. But you can't go wrong with the 6950 XT either. Either way, you're good with this card or the AIB or other NBA version of this. I do like this card. It's not that bad at all. But it doesn't go with my PC. I don't like non-RGB. So just make sure you check all your specs, make sure you check your case, and I appreciate you guys watching this. I hope this helped you in your purchase of a 7900 XT, this one specifically or a different one. And I appreciate everyone watching. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to watch more like this, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Thank you for watching another video from Top 3 Entertainment. I hope you hit like and subscribe. Also, I'm going to have a recommended playlist, a recommended video right here, so make sure to click that as well. I appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be to the Top 3 Tech, Top 3 Gaming, or the Why Not Me podcast. You guys are dope. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And of course, let's grow this thing together. Peace. Peace. Peace.